And I was going to come out here in the morning, but I was so sleepy. So now I'm here in the afternoon, and I wanted to give you all a seedling update on my snapdragons. So they are very dry, very dry. But here they are, my snapdragon soil blocks. So what I'm going to do today is water them, bottom water them, and then I'm going to move them over to this heat mat and light because this is lower. I could lower this, but I need longer because I have these up here with zip ties. So I would have to cut these zip ties and put new ones. And I mean, I can do that, but I'm not going to. I'm just going to keep them in this shorter germination station until I need to raise the light up. So you guys can watch me water. Let me see if I can get a good angle. It's a little messy. It's very messy. Let me see. Actually, I can water them and hold the camera. But you just bottom water and flood the whole tray with water. And the soil blocks are just gonna suck that water right up. So I'm gonna leave them there and let them suck that water up. See how they're looking for like 15 minutes. And then after 15 minutes, if they are completely watered, completely moist, then I'm going to move them to that light. But the thing about the soil blocks is, one, if you didn't make them good, they'll just crumble. So hopefully they don't crumble. You can see like extra dirt coming off, but I don't think they're going to crumble. I'm praying they don't crumble, but we'll see what happens. But they are definitely really dry, so they needed a good watering. And hopefully once they get watered or after they're watered, I can just move them there because I really don't want to come out here every day to water. Like that's what I'm trying to avoid, even though it's kind of hard to avoid watering every day when they're in this stage. So more than likely I will have to come out and water every day, or I'll have to ask one of my coworkers to help water, which is also pretty easy too. As long as they know what they're doing. But yeah, I don't think I'm going to start any more seeds today. The next plan of seeds to start is bachelor buttons. I know I've worked at a flower farm where we started the bachelor buttons directly in the ground, but I don't want to do that here just because of the critters, and I don't know if anything may eat the seeds. So I'm going to start those bachelor buttons indoors. I was going to wait till around the 19th, but I think I'm going to start them earlier than that just because you don't know, how it's going to go. But you can see, let me show y'all the soil blocks. See how some of them are getting darker? So they're sucking that water right up. Yeah, so soil blocking, like I talked about before, it's definitely worked for me. You just really got to get a good idea of how much you want to mix in your soil block as far as how much compost, how much water. The measurements are usually typically the same, but I think water comes down to what your consistency is going to be. So yeah, they look good. We'll see. Making sure they don't crumble. But I think we're going to be good. I think we're going to be good. So I'm excited about these snapdragons and their progress. But yeah, I think that's it for today. I just wanted you all to see how I water. And I don't think I'm going to stay on here any longer. I just wanted to show you all what they're looking like. And I'm going to move them to this other heat lamp and keep them there probably till I leave. And they'll probably go in this plastic overnight. So I think that's going to be my little system. is to be out here during the day, in the plastic during the night. I'll probably come back out here tomorrow too to water, just because I do think they're going to need a lot more attention in the first couple days of seed starting. But they look good. And I have the Echinops upstairs in the refrigerator. So what I read, they just said to like spray them, spritz them with water. So while the Echinops are in the refrigerator stratifying, I'm going to go up and probably spray them occasionally just so that they stay moist while they're in the refrigerator. Then I'll bring them down to the heat lamp probably at the end of the month. So I'm not going to let them stay in there a whole month, probably just till the end of February. And by the beginning of March, I'm going to have the Echinops down here on a light too. So they're still sucking up that water though. And actually I'm going to have to add more water because you see some of them are still pretty dry. So let me add more water. And I just usually add it to the middle and kind of go around where I see it needs more water. And that should be good for right now. And I'm going to see how much of that water it soaks up. And then that'll be today's seeds. I should just let the camera sit and so y'all can see it soak up the water. Somebody said they look like brownies, and I said, don't eat these. You do not want to eat these. These are Snapdragon Tetra Mix. So I'll wait to see how much more water they soak up. And if they soak up all that water and some of them are still super brown, I'll obviously add more water to them. But they look like they're soaking up the water pretty good. And I think I'm actually going to move them now. Oh, here we go. How's this for an angle? Boom. So yeah, I don't think I'll need to add any more water to them. They look good. Then I'm going to go ahead and put them under this heat light because this one is a little closer. They say you should have the light close when you're trying to germinate. So I think this is close enough. Maybe I can get it a little lower. Let's see. I'll put it a little lower so that light can be right on them. Well, yeah, last year when I started Snapdragons, I started them a little later in the season. So I don't think they got that cold period outside that they typically like because I was just a little late to the party. But yeah, we're going to put them here. I think this is good. And the thing about this is, so I got some of this goat manure from outside. This is the goat manure I used last year. And I'm noticing that there are seeds in the goat manure. So my only concern is some of these seeds might germinate because they look like sunflower seeds, which isn't bad, but I don't want sunflower seeds in my Snapdragons. And like I said before, I have the timer, the light on oh, it's a little blurry back there, but I have the light on a 8 to midnight timer. So at 8 a.m., the lights will come on, and at midnight, the lights will turn off. But the heat mat is going to stay on at all times. So yeah, that is the plan for today. And when I start some more seeds, I will definitely let y'all know. But I think this is where I'm going to head out. The heat mat is warming up. I feel like somebody was in here messing with the plugs though, because why are they like this? So yeah, that's what the vibe is. I'm going to do some desk work while I'm here. And maybe I'll stay on a little bit just in case people pop in and want to chat, because I'm all about chatting. But I was telling my coworkers I have to work on, so I created a newsletter for the garden. So basically, when you come to the garden, there's going to be a QR code you can scan. And from that QR code, it'll take you to a document with an introduction about the garden, a little bit about me, and a garden map. And from that garden map, you'll be able to see each bed in the garden and what is growing in each bed. And then there's a small paragraph about how to cut each flower, because I feel like those are questions we get often when I'm there, is people ask, well, how do I cut it? And this way, when there's nobody in the garden but someone who's visiting, they have the instructions right there ahead of them, and they'll feel more comfortable, more comfortable with cutting flowers in the garden. And just telling people, like, welcoming them to cut the flowers, because people always come to the garden when I'm there and they're like, oh, I don't want to cut too much. And it's like, no, please, please cut the flowers, especially the zinnias, because that's the only way they continue, not the only way, but most flowers grow back in abundance when you keep cutting them. So I try to encourage people to cut as many as they want. They feel like they're going to take them all, but I'm like, that's not possible. You can't take them all. So yeah, that is what's going on. I'll give y'all a little sneak peek of the newsletter. Y'all want to see it? It's cute. I'm gonna show y'all the newsletter. So this is it backwards? Probably. I'll turn my camera around and show y'all. So this is the newsletter for the garden. 2025 season. And then we have our little table of contents and the information about the garden. And then you go down to meet the gardener. And this is me and my little information. And this is our garden map. So when you come in and you scan that QR code, it's going to be at the opening. So basically you are at the entrance, and these are all of our marked beds, and they're marked A, B, C, well D, because bed 1 is a long bed. And then from here it tells you what's going to be in bed 1. So what I have to change are these photos, because when I made it I had a free Canva and now I don't have free, or I had Canva Pro. So Canva came through and put their mark on everything. So I have to replace these pictures with pictures that are not, what's that called, watermarked. And the ones that are not watermarks are from the garden. So like this feverfew, I grew that. These dahlias, those are me. And then my status didn't make it, or straw flower didn't make it last year, so I had to get a picture of straw flower. Ornamental grasses, I never took a picture of them, so I used the Canva pic. But yeah, this is a yarrow from the garden. Never grew Cresspedia before. This is the glass that we grew in the garden, and I'm hoping they come back. I'm assuming they will. The tulips from last year, the hyacinths. So like these ones are all things that we grew, and the rest of these are things that we grew, but I just didn't have a good picture. So we had this celosia, but I didn't have a good picture of it. These are zinnias from the actual garden. We had Nicotiana, but I didn't have a good picture. And of course, we had snapdragons, but I didn't have a really good picture of those. We had ageratum. Yeah, so this year I want to be more intentional about taking good pictures of what we grow in the flower garden. These are the lilies. We did have lilies. And then the asparagus, I never took a picture of it. This is the first time I'm doing bachelor buttons in this garden. And these are the dahlias I grew last year. And then this is going to be the first time I'm growing dianthus, Mexican hat, and we do have Rudbeckia. And then just some volunteer dates and pictures from when we have volunteers, but these are going to be our upcoming volunteer dates for the 2025 summer season. And then I'm also going to add some events in here as well. So once I have my event calendar down, I'm going to also add those. And that will be what is happening in the flower picking garden for summer 2025. So yeah, I'm excited about the season. I'm excited to grow things I never grew before, especially like the dianthus, because it's really pretty. And I'm also thinking about doing like a corner. I don't know what you would consider these flowers, but they kind of grow more in like bushels rather than stems. So I think I may do like a corner of the garden in that. And I also want to pay more attention to the willows because there are willows in the garden. And I didn't know what they were until later in the season. So I think I want to pay more attention to those so that we can do possibly some sort of craft type of workshop at the end of the season with the willows. So yeah. Let me check in on the snapdragons, see if they absorbed all the water. So, yep, I think they look good. So, because everything looks watered, I'm going to, oh, I got shocked. I'm going to pour this excess water out into the sink. And that is it for watering the snapdragons today. So, it took about 18 minutes to make sure that they were completely watered, because you don't want to just water and go, because you don't want them to sit in water for hours. And I think that's where a lot of times you can overwater your seedlings if you just let them sit in water. So if you do have excess water on them, it's really important to drain that excess water out the tray. So y'all can't see me, but I'm just pouring that extra water off of my soil blocks back into the sink. And I feel like these will definitely be wet for a minute. Let me show y'all. So here they go, watered. And I'm really picky about my soil blocks. So one thing I do is when I see they start to crumble, or like there's just dirt on the side, I don't know if y'all can see, but I'll take this and I'll like form them back together and put them back in their little spots. But yep, these are my snapdragon soil blocks. So we'll see how long it takes for them to germinate. And yeah, that is it for today, y'all. So thank you for tuning in. I've been here 19 minutes, so I'm going to head out. But, thank you all for tuning in. And if you want to see more of my gardening journey, go to my page. I have a farming and gardening playlist that documents my gardening season last season. So, yeah, thanks, y'all. Farmer Meesh checking out.